Oh boy, we're gonna have this conversation, are we? It's already started, it's already beginning, and oh boy, I gotta get into it. Didn't want to get into it, but we're going to, sadly. But before all of that, before we get into the game itself, I want to talk about the NHL outdoor experience in general for the past 2 days. And I absolutely love what the NHL tried to do with these two outdoor games in Lake Tahoe. The scenery, the beauty, the atmosphere was absolutely incredible. The outdoor rink, just everything. You see the Lake Tahoe, just the entire lake in general, the mountains in the backdrop, just everything the NHL did. Like, this was the perfect setup. Just sadly, they got so unlucky with the weather. They got so unlucky. It's weird because an outdoor hockey game, when you have beautiful sunshine just coming down, it's the worst conditions to play in because of how bad it makes the ice. And the NHL got so unlucky with the weather the past 2 days because yesterday the forecast was supposed to be like, I think, snow, then turn into overcast. It was snow, but then it turned into sunny. So they had to, with yesterday's Vegas and Colorado game, they started the first period at normal time, but the ice surface was so bad, people were falling all over the place. They compared it to basically wet cement, the way the ice surface was at that point. So delaying the game and not playing the second period until midnight our time in the East Coast. So that whole situation in general. The game did finish, though, but it was still a very entertaining game. But just sadly, the whole weather situation made the entire thing just more hectic than it needed to be, I guess. And now with the Flyers and Bruins situation from this game, it was originally pushed forward from 3 to 2 o'clock, but then they pushed the game back to 7, then 7:30. So, and even though with national television the game never actually started at 7:30, it started like around 7:45, 7:55, around that point, more closer to the 8 o'clock time point. So, it was still just like a great atmosphere, Lake Tahoe, that entire thing. It was a great idea by the NHL. It's just that Mother Nature didn't want. It's still weird saying a beautiful sunny day is the worst possible outcome for the weather for a outdoor hockey game. It was, sadly. But this is definitely something for the NHL to consider going into next year. Maybe they do something like this for an outdoor game. Maybe they just do it. You, instead of having 2 games, you have more games throughout the year at this outdoor place. So maybe that's something they do consider. But I'm sure the NHL is probably most likely going to be going back to the Winter Classic, the Stadium Series next year, the Heritage Classic. So that's probably more the expectation. But this is definitely something to look into. Like, maybe you put a Winter Classic at maybe another just classic venue, or just another like great landmark, like Lake Tahoe was. I don't know why he said like so many times. The goddamn stuttering. But now to get into the game at hand. It wasn't pretty. It definitely was not pretty. The Flyers lose 7-3 in the Boston Bruins in the outdoor game at Lake Tahoe. And Carter Hart didn't have a good game. He didn't play good. There were a lot of goals, especially those last 4 goals in the second period, that he would want back. Definitely would. But it's still hard for me to trash the entire team because the team didn't dress a full, healthy lineup. They couldn't because of the COVID situation they're going through. You don't have Giroux. You don't have Voracek. You don't have Laughton. You don't have Lindblom. You don't have Konechny. You don't have Justin Braun, one of your defensemen. You don't. And that's definitely going to be impacting a game when, one, you already lost 4 games to the Bruins this year with a healthy lineup. So what the hell was the expectation going into this game with a non-healthy lineup? Honestly, this probably was the expectation, to get absolutely cremated. But I didn't expect Carter Hart to have that bad of a game. And yes, Carter Hart has had a really rough season to start this year. There have been a lot of goals that he would want, but he has had some good games here and there. But there are a lot of games, even when he's playing good, there are some games where there's just goals that he would like to have back. Goals that are technically goals that he should save. And there were a lot of those tonight. A lot of goals that he should have saved. And this year, Boston has especially lit him up. And David Pastrnak, his second game this season against the Flyers, scoring a hat trick. And I think last year we held Pastrnak goalless in the season series last year, so I guess he was way overdue to score goals against us. I think it's the same situation with Alex Ovechkin and the Capitals. Last year against them, we held Alex Ovechkin scoreless, and he scored 2 goals in the last game against us. So I guess guys that we hold scoreless last year, they're just completely overdue to score goals in bunches against us this year. I guess that's just the thing that's happening with us this year. But honestly, the first period wasn't that bad. I felt like the Flyers, the way they played, they were a little bit physical. They were getting pucks in deep. I wish they, even though they did outshoot the Bruins in the first period, I kind of would have wanted them to shoot more. Just because on that side of the ice for the Bruins, Tuukka Rask, he had a lot of this. He had basically the entire sun staring at him right in the face, and just the glare, the shadows, all of that was really noticeable on Boston's side of the ice. So I probably wanted the Flyers to take advantage of that a lot more. Just throwing pucks onto the net, getting pucks on Tuukka Rask, because it's definitely going to be difficult picking up the puck when it's consistently going through a shadow, then light, then shadow, then light, then right at you. Honestly, you probably don't even see it coming. So that's something I would have liked to see the Flyers do a lot more. Boston, they blocked a lot of shots in this game, and that was something very evident through the entire thing. The Flyers, when they were taking shots, especially in the second and the third period, they were missing the net. Shots were getting blocked. Even happening in the first period as well, shots were getting blocked a lot by the Boston Bruins. And that led to the first Boston goal 30 plus seconds into the game. Phil Myers in the offensive zone tries to take a shot, put it on Tuukka Rask. Bergeron blocks it. Boston brings the puck up the perfection line. You got a 2-on-1 with Marchand and Pastrnak. Marchand puts a perfect pass feed over to Pastrnak, buries it in past Carter Hart. And Carter Hart, on that play, he was doing the right thing. He was respecting the shot from Marchand, and Marchand just put the perfect pass through the Pastrnak. I would like Provorov to maybe play that a little better, maybe try to take the pass away more so it does force Marchand to shoot the puck. But the pass went through. Carter Hart did the right thing. He respected the shot because you got Pastrnak and Marchand. And both of those guys can score. So basically it was picking or poisoning on that point. So Boston makes it 1-0. But then the Flyers, they continued to push the pace. They were forechecking. They were being physical. They were getting into the Boston zone. And this was a very weird and fluky play. You got the first line out there for the Flyers. Couture, Farabee, and JVR. Sean Couture just literally beaming a puck down into the offensive zone behind Rask. And it takes the weirdest bounce. It comes right off the boards, fast as ever. And out of nowhere, Joel Farabee bounces on the puck. And he puts it by Tuukka Rask as he is falling down through the 5-hole. Puts it past Tuukka Rask, and he ties the game at 1. So, hey, Flyers get a goal. They tie the game. Okay, maybe there's something cooking here. But then the Flyers, they take a penalty, and Boston goes to the power play, and that's something we definitely didn't want to do. Sean Couturier takes a tripping against Brad Marchand. But the Flyers penalty kill, they actually look good on that point. They killed off the penalty. Couturier comes out of the box. McAvoy on the point in the Flyer zone breaks his stick. There's a little bit of miscommunication on the Boston bench of who's giving McAvoy a stick. There was 2 guys trying to give him a stick, and there was miscommunication, and he didn't know what to do. So he came out of that situation without a stick. So the Flyers were able to bring that into the zone. You had Kevin Hayes, JVR in the zone. There's a puck scramble in front of Tuukka Rask in the blue paint. Kevin Hayes had a chance to bury it into the open net. The defenseman blocked that. But then the puck lands right onto the stick of Sean Couturier, who is also in the blue paint, and he buries it into the open net. 2-1 Flyers, and hey, you got a 2-1 lead, you kill off the penalty, and you capitalized on a Boston mistake. And there you go, you make it 2-1. But then Boston, they respond not so long after, basically under a minute at this point. And McAvoy makes up for the miscommunication that he had with the bench and his stick. Takes a shot from the point, and this is the first line out there for Boston, the perfection line once again. Marchand to McAvoy, takes the shot from the point, goes by Carter Hart, and there was a little bit of a screen there from Ivan Provorov, but Hart did get a piece of it with the right arm under his armpit, so there was a chance for Carter Hart to stop that puck. Even though he was screened, he was in the position to stop it, so he's definitely going to tell you he wants that puck back. And yes, there's definitely a chance that Carter Hart needs to make that save. And there's a factor in with the screen and all of that, but I'm like, yes, he does need to make that save too, but maybe there was also a factor in somewhere with the screen as well. But the period goes 2-2. Boston looked like they were getting something going at the end of that period, but you come out of that period tied, which honestly I thought was the best possible outcome. It would have been nice if you didn't allow that second goal and you went into the period 2-1. Maybe this would have been a different game, but you go tied. You're actually out shooting them 11-9. But then this is when the floodgates open for Boston. Early on in the second period, perfection line out there once again. Pasternak, get the pass from Richie, and this is definitely a goal Carter Hart definitely needs to have. Pasternak, the puck is a little bit flimsy on his stick, but he shoots it, goes bar down, right above the glove of Carter Hart, into the net. It's a 3-2 Boston lead, and that's definitely a goal that Carter Hart wants back. But it was 3-2 for majority of the second period, basically throughout the halfway point. Kevin Hayes did have a great chance for the Flyers. He came in, comes into the slot, tries to take the shot. He barely missed the net. He missed it wide. And that was definitely the storyline going into the rest of the game for the Flyers. When they shot, they missed the net, or the shot was blocked. The Flyers, like I said, they had 11 shots in the first. They only had 8 shots the rest of the game. So they weren't getting shots on net, and they weren't taking that many shots. And Boston was controlling the pace of play for a lot of that time. So the Flyers do take another penalty, but that's not until later. They do take a penalty, they kill it off, but then they do start to get into penalty trouble, but this is before that. Get Charlie Coyle coming into the zone, takes the shot, goes by Carter Hart, goes off the post, then off of his leg, then into the net. Definitely a puck that he needs to stop as well. A lot of these goals for Boston are seeing eye or goals that are just right in front of Carter Hart where he can see it and he needs to stop it. Because not that long after the Charlie Coyle goal, got Trent Frederick, who scores his first career National Hockey League goal, and not just the classic Flyers allowing a guy to score his first NHL goal. It was a shot from the far angle, but definitely another puck Carter Hart needs to stop. And then just to put salt in the wound, Nick Ritchie scores on the power play for Boston to make it 6-2. And at that point, people are saying that at this point you would expect Alain Vigneault to pull Carter Hart in this situation, and I was saying that too. But then I saw on Twitter that one of the Flyers media members that was there was talking to one of the TSN media members, and he was talking about how if this was an indoor game, after that 4th goal, Elliott would have came in automatically. But maybe with this entire situation being that it's outdoors, Elliott hasn't played in 3 weeks. Maybe there was some insight to where Elliott couldn't come in at that standpoint just because it's been 3 weeks since he has played, and it's also a different environment, I guess. So because one, you got to deal with the outdoor environment, and you haven't played in 3 weeks, so I guess that's what's factored into the decision to not bring Brian Elliott into the game. And who knows, maybe Alain Vigneault thought that a lot of these goals weren't Carter Hart's fault, but there were goals that a lot of goals that Carter Hart needed to stop in this game, and he didn't make those saves, and he allowed a lot of softies. He did, definitely, like that Pasternak goal, that Charlie Coyle goal was definitely really soft. The McAvoy, he had a piece of it. He definitely should have stopped that with his arm, and just he didn't have a good game. He did not have a good game. Then you go into the third period. Flyers have finally get a power play, and they finally score on their second power play of the game. James Van Riemsdyk putting a tip in front of the net, and he makes it 6-3. But later in the third period, terrible turnover at the Flyers blue line. I think it was Provorov that made this turnover. Goes right to Boston. One-timer today with Pasternak. He puts it by Brian Elliott. And honestly, Elliott did settle things down in the third period a little bit. He was making the saves, but this was just something he couldn't stop because it was a terrible turnover at your blue line, and it was a one-timer to Pasternak. And this is Pasternak's second hat trick this season against the Flyers. And like I said, he was way overdue to score against us, and he's scoring against us in bunches. He is really confident when he plays the Flyers this year. So, yeah, really, really bad. Just not a good game overall. The Flyers, like I said, they led shots against Boston 11-8 in the first period. Outshot 15-3 in the second period. That's how much Boston was controlling the pace of the play. And then outshot 12-5 in the third period. Final shots were 35-19. And Carter Hart, he allowed 6 goals on 14 shots. Definitely not his best night. Definitely not his best night overall this season. Like I said, he's been having a below average season. He has not been having a season up to his standards. Not having a season up to, I guess, the standards that we all have for him. Because, yes, he is the goaltender of the future for us. He is the goaltender that is going to be great in the long term. Carter Hart's not having a good season. Carter Hart did not have a good game. Carter Hart is going to be a good young goaltender. He is a good young goaltender. And he is going to be really good for us in the long term. All of those statements can be true. And yes, I am quoting Charlie O'Connor because now literally every Flyers media member has to go on Twitter and state that because now fans are starting to question Carter Hart because everyone is blowing this completely out of proportion. Completely out of proportion. That they're even comparing it to the Carson Wentz situation. It's getting that bad. It's completely blown out of proportion because I guess it was a nationally televised game. I guess. And it was an outdoor game. But you got to look at yes, Carter Hart did not have a good game. He didn't. There were a lot of goals that he could have stopped in this game. Flyers didn't have a full healthy lineup. They didn't. They were missing 6 people. 2. The New York Rangers and the Boston Bruins are 2 completely different teams. 2 completely different. The Rangers haven't been good this year. Boston is 100 times better than them. And Boston has elite players throughout the lineup. And they're healthy. And they're going up against a Flyers team who they beat 4 times this year. And the Flyers don't have a healthy lineup. What was the expectation? Just what? And now everyone wants to run Carter Hart, even though it's probably not to that standpoint at this right now, but right now it's the stage of Philadelphia fans overreacting because a goalie had a bad game. And yes, he is not having the best of seasons. And he is 22 years old. We're going through the growing pains of a young goaltender in this league. It's the growing pains. For people that were expecting him to have a Vezina quality season at age 22, you have no idea what you're talking about. You don't know hockey. You are either a casual fan or a person that is being negative just for the sake of being negative. And that is also quoting Charlie O'Connor as well. Because he was very adamant about defending Carter Hart in this game, and the right he should be. Because, yes, Carter Hart didn't have a bad game. But it doesn't mean you run him out of town because he had a bad game and he's having a bad season. He's a young goaltender, and he's going through growing pains. He is going to tell you that he needs to stop the pucks that he had to stop. And the mentality of this kid, I am not worried about him in the long term. I'm not. Because he has the right mentality. He is going through the growing pains. Teams are adjusting to him. Now he has to adjust to the league again. He has to find a way to readjust. Gain that confidence back. Because yes, he has shown some flashes of what he is. But there are a lot of situations where he's allowing that soft goal. So he has to readjust that game because the league is definitely adjusting to him. So he has to readjust. He had a bad game. He's not having the best of seasons. But he's a good young goaltender. And he's going to be good for us in the long term. All of those statements are true and can be true. The overreaction, it's classic Philadelphia overreaction at this point. So at this point, what do I expect? What do we all expect at this point? So, like I said, can't look too deep into this game. You can look into a little bit deep about Carter Hart and just how he didn't play good in this game. You can. But to overreact to that extent, just like I said, it's the growing pains of a young goaltender. And that's what we are going through this year. He's going to be good in the long term. He is a very good young goaltender. We're going through the growing pains at this point. That's what's happening. But the Flyers, they didn't have a full healthy lineup either in this game. So even though we lost to Boston 4 times this year, this game probably would have been closer if we had a healthy lineup. So think about that too. So that's where I'm going to leave it off. So what are your thoughts about this game overall? What are your thoughts about Carter Hart and just going through the growing pains at this point? Are you the overreacting person that wants to run him out of town and compare him to Carson Wentz? Or do you understand the situation entirely and you know what you're talking about? So I want to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. Don't forget to leave those comments down there. Don't forget to like this video. Don't forget to check out the Painted Lines, which I am a part of. We had our Flyers watch party today. It wasn't the best entertaining thing, but had a first watch party in a while, so definitely go check out the Painted Lines there. Their links will be in the description below. Don't forget to check out the Flyer Up Podcast merchandise website. I think we're planning on doing a podcast tomorrow night, so definitely stay tuned. We'll definitely be talking about this game, Carter Hart, just everything around the NHL, so definitely stay tuned for that. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel, and I will see you next time.